Hey, good morning. Let me hear the round of applause again. I know we wake up, we've all had breakfast, right? All right, so my name is Ian Royer, and I'm here to talk to you about actually realizing or formalizing your dreams. It's a very interesting topic to talk about because it's not something tangible. It's something that you have to actually believe in order to follow through with it. I'll start with when I first started really being cognizant of my dreams, and it was because of a very special lady to me, and that was Cinderella. And why I started focusing on my dreams was I looked at this as a small child on a Betamax. You all remember what a Betamax is? It's very outdated. And Cinderella said something very important in a song, and I think it's the truth. And that is, a dream is a wish your heart makes. And what dreams really are your subconscious telling you, hey, listen to this really cool idea. It's something that you should pay attention to and something that you should do. And I've come up with a way that I treat with my dreams in my experiences and how I actualize my dreams. And I have an ABC formula. And the first thing that you need to realize is that your dreams, as Dexter's lab, he inspired me too. Step A is actually having ambition and realizing that dreams are an ambition. And an ambition's definition is a life goal or a life skill or a life experience that you set for yourself. So in reality, the first step of actualizing your dreams is writing it down very simply. If you can't explain the dream in one simple sentence or one simple idea, then you need to revisit it some more. The first step to actually achieving your dreams is making sure it's on paper. It's one clear goal. For example, when I was in Trinity College, I always wanted to be an artist. So I spent a lot of time in the art room. Meanwhile, I was good at physics and chemistry, and I couldn't really draw. But my dream was always to be an artist. And I remember in third form, my art teacher put on my report, no real artistic talent, stick to sciences. But that dream was very clear to me, and that ambition was very clear to me. And so it brings me to the next step of how I achieved that, and that was by being brave. People are going to tell you that you're crazy for your dreams. Every big dreamer, every big artist, every big pioneer has always been told they've been insane. And a good example of that is Christopher Columbus. I mean, he tried to sell the fact that the world was round to his entire country, and they told him, no, you are insane. So he went across to Spain, and because he was brave, he was able to tell the queen, listen, I know the world is round, can I have some of your money, please? And she funded him, and here we are today because of that. And how bravery came into play in my goal to being an artist is I started to look for every single avenue I can be to express myself. And how it turned out for me is that I was a writer, and a very good writer, and being able to work with people who can actually draw. We ended up coming up with artistic expression, and that's how I found myself becoming an artist. And part of actualizing your dreams is realizing that it doesn't always work out quite the way that you plan, and you have to learn how to accept that and how to work with that. And the next step is to create a plan. So remember when I told you about the ambitions and writing it down? That's the basis for your plan. That's your theory. That's how you see yourself, and that's the experience that you want for yourself. And then you start sketching your steps. So planning is extremely critical to dreaming. It's all about setting small milestones for yourself and small accomplishable goals and analyzing the skills that you need to get there. Planning is about making that roadmap and that checklist so that you can figure out if you need to readjust your plan, like how I really can't draw. But I started learning how to communicate and network, and that became another one of my skills in order to get people to draw my ideas. Another example of how this worked for me was one of my goals as a child was I always wanted to help people. And it was very broad. It's a very broad dream. And how that ended up working out for me was I saw an advertisement with the United Nations for a conference. At the time, the conference was completely booked out. It was in New York. So my goal and my dream was to attend this conference. The first step was to get a flight. The second step was to find out if I could sleep by a friend. And then the third step was to sneak into the conference. And it worked out for me because I was able to accept I may not get to go to the conference, but I can be an observer and still learn from it. And what ended up happening was I kind of bribed the organizer of the conference by meeting him and giving him a present from Trinidad and Tobago and explaining that I came all the way here and if I could just be an observer, please. And he said, okay, no problem. And when I got there, they asked me, well, you want to be a delegate? And I was like, yeah. And I ended up in the conference, and then 12 years later, I've been traveling the world with the UN, writing declarations for summits, working with youth, inspiring young people, and helping people. And the dream really hit home for me last year in South Africa when I went to a conference where they tried to make a whole bunch of old people work with a whole bunch of young people because it wasn't working out so well before. And they took us to this place called Robben Island. And Robben Island is where Nelson Mandela spent a good part of his life holding on to one dream of freedom. And that was the only thing that sustained him in this dreadful, abysmal place. And it struck that whatever we do here would really impact how young people were going to interact with older directors at the UN level. And I don't think it would have happened if we were in any other place. But while this place was so dark and it was a harrowing experience, me having never seen that kind of treatment of human life. But to know that Nelson Mandela was able to hold on to his dream and accomplish it patiently and keeping that hope alive was very critical, and it changed my life. The formula, once you have your ambition and you be brave about it and you forget that people will tell you that you're crazy and you start creating a plan, is when you start achieving success. And the thing with success is that you have to make sure that you understand that it may not always work out how you plan, but every single experience that you get along the way of trying to achieve one of your dreams will help you make another one bigger and another one better. And the trick to it, as well as in planning, and when you're doing the creation of your plan, is identifying role models and mentors who can help you and learning how to ask for help. That's a big problem Trinidadians don't have. We don't know how to ask people, can you help me achieve my dream? Because we tend to hide what we really want to do and we suppress it. And you'd believe in the naysayers when they tell you that you shouldn't do this, it sounds too crazy, or it's not a good idea. But once you measure every single step that you take towards a dream as a success and as a point that you have learned and grown, everything else becomes so much easier every time that you try. And the other trick that I want to leave you with is have as many dreams and ambitions as you can. Always believe in the ideas that you have and have many, because that's the only way that you could really succeed. If you stick to one thing and it doesn't work out and you don't feel encouraged to do other things, then you're stuck. And the human nature is adept to dreaming. That's the philosophy I have in life. That's why I've tried so many things. So people look at me at 28 and go like, you're all over the place. But in reality, I've just become a dreamer and I've become adept at taking things and projects into fruition because I want to try everything, as many things as I can. And what I want to leave with you last is, if you ever feel discouraged because your dream doesn't work out quite as much as you like, just remember Cinderella and how her struggle to exit her home became her dream, and she accomplished it with a little help of magic and stuff like that. I mean, in the real world, it works out by asking people for help, which is what she did. But just take a look at the movie every time you feel like you're stuck. And that's my talk, my inspiration.